Support for Heard That is brought to you in part by Zoetis. Zoetis is the world's leading animal health company whose name stems from the Greek word for laugh. For more information, follow them on their social media or visit zoetisus.com/beef. That's zoetisus.com/beef for Zoetis, the world's leading animal health company.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Heard That, the beef industry podcast hosted by myself, Moses Mike, and our co-host Zach McFarland. But today, we thought we had celebrities last week. We thought we had celebrities the week before or whatever. We had celebrities. We have star-studded celebrities on the panel today, and we're going to go in a clockwise direction. Which way is clockwise? I didn't have enough to drink today. So we'll go to my left. We'll go to my left, and we'll introduce everyone on the panel. And I guarantee you, to anyone who's listening, everyone on this panel is going to introduce themselves in a very humble manner. But I promise you, when I get through with them, you'll understand why I say they're star-studded. So to my left is Mr. Ben Londo. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. My name's Ben Londo. I'm the rodeo coach at Cal Poly. Been the rodeo coach for the last 10 years. Excited to be here. I don't have much to build upon past that. Like you said, probably going to keep it pretty quiet.
I'm the rodeo coach. Done. Mic drop.
I could introduce Ben if you want, when it gets to me.
All right. So we're going to swap roles. Very next to the left of Ben Londo, we have our amazing co-host and industry expert, Zach McFarland. Zach, how are you doing this week?
Basically trash. That's what I am. Compared to this panel, at least, right?
Zach, we had a celebrity, Coach Kaya. We had Coach Kaya said. What did Coach Kaya say?
Coach Kaya said, be your best self at all times.
Be your best self at all times. And you are one of the best. You are one of the best out there. The students sing your praises. Industry professionals sing your praises. And I'm sure your baby sings your praises too, but you just can't understand him.
Yep, not quite. Not quite. He's getting there, though. He says dada. It might have been his first word, but don't tell my wife. But
it's always their first word.
It's easier to say, right? Easier to say. At least that's what I tell my wife, so I can go home at night. But I'm just happy to be here, and I think with this group, I'm just so excited because not only are they colleagues, but also friends, and really excited to get the discussion rolling with this crew.
Yeah, we have some.
Keep me young.
We have some exciting questions for the crew as well, because I know most of these people are rodeo people, as Jane said. So, husband and wife team,
That's us.
Jane and Lane.
That's
So I'm going to start with Jane. Please introduce yourself. Tell us how you got to this point.
How I got here? Well, there's a lot of ways I got here, but I am a Cal Poly Rodeo alumni, a Cal Poly Ag Comms alumni, Cal Poly Ag Ed Master's Program alumni, and I think I'm here because I'm currently co-teaching the Poly Royal Productions class alongside Ben Londo.
Among other things.
I sell real estate with my husband. We have a baby. She's great. Life's good. So, yeah, life's good.
And Mr. Lane, I know we met a couple times before. You worked part-time in the department that I worked in, and we did some collaborations before. But please, I don't know the other side of you, right? So introduce yourself as if you're introducing yourself to someone who's never met you before but's really interested in what you do.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm Jane Karney, obviously married to Jane. I was grateful to have you guest speak in some classes that I taught at Cal Poly. Got to rodeo under Ben while I was here at Cal Poly as a student. I've had some good experiences in the rodeo side of the rodeo industry, and happy to be here.
So you promised us that when we got to you would introduce Ben Londo, because Ben Londo refuses to announce his accolades.
Yeah, right. So Ben's a stud, man. Ben was a National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association champ himself, and then obviously what he's done with Cal Poly Rodeo. Cal Poly Rodeo's got a great tradition, for a way back, but what Ben has done is totally elevate this program in every way possible, and he's done a great job, made Cal Poly Rodeo proud, and it's great.
Well, and that's what we were talking about, actually. Sorry to interrupt you, Moses, but that's what we were talking about when we got together earlier is, Cal Poly really started with animal husbandry and the rodeo program. So there's been this really deep and meaningful and really special connection between the rodeo program here, as well as really just Cal Poly in general. And I think when I first came here, I was like, wow, this rodeo program, how it's evolved, but also the animal science program, a little selfishly for myself, it's pretty special to have students on the rodeo team that are also involved in the beef program. There's a lot of intersection, which is really special.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know you want to say something, but I can't let you get away with that subtle introduction. When I first started at Cal Poly, which was about 3-4 years ago, Ben Londo was the first person to give me an opportunity to expand myself as an ad communicator to support what I do in terms of digital media. He supported a camera. He provided a scholarship for one of my students. And I was able to travel with the rodeo team for a couple of events until my workload got really heavy. And I got to say, every event that I've went to, of course, I look like a weird person, right? Like everyone's in rodeo gear or rodeo dress, and I'm like in jeans and whatever. And sometimes some people ask, well, where are you from? Who you with? Or whatever. I'm hanging with Ben Londo. It's like, Ben Londo, they shake my hands like, that's a good man. It's like they speak about a dinosaur, something mythical when they talk about Ben Londo. So, and I've also understood.
You might stand up and walk out of the room right now.
I think this is some kind of prank.
Am
I being punked right now?
It's really not.
Ashton Kutcher.
And so I think it's a credit to the person that Ben is to be recognized by other industry legends as a legend. And I've always admired that about Ben Londo specifically. And I'm grateful that he's here to share in this part of what I know what to do, digital media, ad communication. And so my first question really goes to you. We're here to talk about the beef industry and how rodeo as an industry in and of itself overlaps. So can you sort of describe that overlap between rodeo and the beef industry?
Yeah, so rodeo holistically is basically the sport that's evolved from the traditions of ranching and the beef industry. It's a showcase of skills of cowboys and cowgirls and what we do every day to manage cattle, to run livestock, to herd cattle. It's really just a showcase of our heritage and our industry. I appreciate all the accolades that you guys had given me, but really the cards have always been stacked here. Cal Poly is such a great university, the best students in the world. It's been referred to as the Notre Dame of college rodeo, and I mean you've got the best and the brightest and most talented students coming through this program. I remember when I first started, and I was a young coach, and kind of really didn't know what I was getting myself into, and Lane was the president of the program at the time, and we had a long chat one day about what was truly capable with this program, and it's the support, the students, the talent, everything's always been there, and I've just been very fortunate to be able to bring the right people together to move this forward, much like you, Dr. Mike. And just telling the story of what these kids and what this program and what this university is about, and what Cal Poly stands for, and I feel like I'm just the guy that unveiled the curtain. It's always been there, and it's going to continue to be there.
And I appreciate that so much. I'm going to move it over. Can I call you Lane and Jane? Is that okay, or do Mr. and Mrs. Karney? why is that fun?
Lane and Jane would be ideal.
It'd be just
I
fine.
can be Charlie's dad.
I'll pass it over to Charlie's dad. Is there anything that you can add? Can you describe the overlap that you've seen with the beef industry and rodeo?
Yeah, well, first I'll say with Ben, we had that conversation, and there was what was possible, and then there's what Ben did. He elevated even, right? So, but the overlap to me, there's such an overlap, and it sounds cliche in a way of the camaraderie amongst the industries, but at the end of the day, like it's not a cliche. Like I feel it so much, and guys that I met, whether it was the junior high national finals or the high school national finals or the college finals, that became friends. And, you travel across the country and you wind up at their family's ranch, right? Spend a week or spend a summer, and there's just such a commingling and a backbone of respect and that family, I just think it ties together. Yeah, super good. So
I feel like Zach has something to say really urgently from the beef industry side.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, it's really been fascinating, not only as an individual, but also now as a faculty member, to see that intersection playing out. Because to be completely honest, I had no intention of ever coming back to California, ever. And Cal Poly is really special. And really the only reason I came here, one, was because of the program that was established here. And part of that is not just the College of Ag, but the rodeo program as well. I college rodeoed, kind of had, definitely not at the level that this group has. I was at the University of Arizona, but kind of similar background, really getting to know other competitors and being able to go back to the ranch and use those skills in a real world setting. What my goal was to showcase this lifestyle and this industry in a way that's pretty inclusive, because less than 2% of production agriculture people in the United States are involved in production agriculture. And so to be able to pass that on to the next generation and showcase what we as individuals grew up in to that next generation is so special. And I'll say this till my dying day, like some of my best students have zero background at all. And they just live and breathe and love the beef industry, the Western lifestyle. And, for me, Cal Poly was like, let's showcase that in such a cool and special way. And that really was what brought me here, truly.
I was about to say Mrs. Karney. Charlie's mom. Charlie's mom.
Jane's fine too.
Jane. From your perspective, you're a woman from the rodeo side.
Actually, originally the beef side.
Really?
Yeah. So I grew up, my dad ran a cow-calf operation in the San Francisco Bay Area. He leased about 12,000 acres of public ground, and I grew up, we were fully integrated with the public, and, hikers, bikers, people riding their horses, just, out and about, and we had our cow-calf operation intertwined with them. And so that's where my childhood was in that situation. And I grew up in the branding pen and roping in there. And I actually didn't rodeo until I met Ben Londo. And all of a sudden I fell in love with rodeo. And here I am at Cal Poly Rodeo alumni. And I'm helping them teach the Poly Royal Rodeo production class. And it's been a journey for sure.
I'm going to ask my production team to switch over to what the kitchen's doing right now. Dr. Amin is messing up something big in the back there, some giant shank, trying to get it all juicy. We'll partake in that a little bit later, but I want to transition the conversation to mechanisms of support between the two industries, right? Now, like I mentioned before, I worked with Ben Londo for a short while, very, very educational experience, and I've seen bucking bulls and stuff come from, I'm assuming that's beef industry side, right? Is that fair to say?
Bucking bulls, I would say not so much the commercial beef side.
Almost its own thriving industry, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So well, then my very uninformed question is for Ben Londo right now. How do the two industries support each other? How do the beef industry and the rodeo industry support each other?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. The rodeo is like the showcase sport of the beef industry. So that's where, your beef industry finds value in their sponsorships. You look on the Cowboy Channel and it's Express Ranches. It's all these big ranches and big farming equipment, cattle handling equipment companies that's their viewer, that's their market. So they see value in the sport. It's people coming home after a hard day's work on the ranch that are tuning into the Cowboy Channel to watch Houston that started today. And those commercials, that's their audience. So I would say that's where the correlation that I see from a production end comes from.
I'll tap totally into that.
Wait. Charlie's dad. I have to say.
Sorry. Okay. Charlie's dad. I think it's spot on. And when Ben said it's the showcase of the beef industry, I think it's so spot on. And you look at all the rodeos we're in right now. The Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo just got over. The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. The Denver, all these that combine the rodeo, right, the showcase with the livestock shows, and the amount of money, I don't know, look it up, what Rodeo Houston's given back to young people in the state of Texas in agriculture. It's millions of dollars, right? And
Historically, 600 million is what they said last night. They've given
600, how many?
600 million is what they said last night.
Whoa.
on
dollars
Houston's
back
talk
to the
show.
youth of
And
Texas
scholarship, right?
from a
Scholarship.
rodeo and livestock
Scholarship.
show, you
Yeah.
know, and they have great concerts, you know, too. But
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? It's like the ultimate spectacle of those two industries coming together, and I think there's such a crossbreed in that, and it's amazing.
Do you have anything to add to that, Charlie's mom?
You know, I think there's so many different rabbit holes that we can get into it on this topic. And, you know, I think it all just stems back to the fact that, you know, whether you wear a cowboy hat or you don't wear a cowboy hat, the word cowboy resonates with someone. And if you're a rodeo cowboy, it resonates with you. If you're a ranching cowboy or cowgirl, it resonates with them too. And I think that, you know, not so much it's, you know, rodeo versus the beef industry, but it's like the word cowboy that spreads between the two industries that kind of bring us all together, and we all have the same, you know, morals and values, and we're all family when it comes down to it.
I had a giant misconception. I was in two minds about the definition of what a cowboy is. So when you look at media, when you hear the word cowboy or cowgirl, it's rodeo people, right? People who rodeo. But really, a cowboy or a cowgirl are people who wrangle cows, right? Like, is that fair to say?
I think it can be anything you want it to be.
Fantastic. I'm a cowboy now.
But really, like it truly is. Like Zach and I were talking earlier today about Courtney, and you know, I think you guys had her on the podcast the first week.
Courtney Dehoff, one of our first podcasts.
Yeah, and she, you know, her stance on everything, and she's gotten a lot of lashback on it on social media, is like, you know, people telling her to take off her cowboy hat.
It's
you know,
on backwards, yeah.
It's on,
no.
you know, but it's not.
And she's
It's
like,
just her shape.
College rodeo athlete, also a fifth or sixth generation rancher in Kansas. It was fascinating to see that, and I was like, wow, there's so much hatred and vilification of, you know, especially, it's kind of timely in a way, right? Beyonce's singing country music.
Dude, you stole my point. I was
Yeah,
talking about Texas Hold'em.
Sorry, buddy. You were just in Nashville, so you were probably right in the thick of it. But it is fascinating. I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, if we can have some people that are interested and wanting to buy beef, be involved in the Western lifestyle, or at least have an appreciation for the Western lifestyle, that allows us in that lifestyle to survive and to thrive. And it's hard for me to, and I would love to hear like what you guys think. California is so unique, right? And you know, what's happened in San Diego and really many of the metropolitan areas, the pushback against rodeo specifically, but ultimately that's a pushback against the beef industry and all of livestock and all of agriculture. It's a little bit scary and a little bit, at the end of the day, it's scary.
I think if you look at the anthropological perspective of the history of America, there is no denying that, you know, cowboys are the ones who formed the foundation. I've always said this. I say this in my classes all the time, especially in classes that I have a lot of rodeo kids in. It's like Western lifestyle is the foundation of American culture, and if you try to exclude that from modern day or contemporary America, you're like diminishing a big part of the culture. And so, Zach, I wanted to ask you if you knew any ranchers. Of course you do. Could you tell me what role ranchers play between, you know, the rodeo industry and the beef industry? Is there overlap there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell me more.
I think even just within my own family, there's definitely a complete overlap. You know, we were talking about, we have Ben is really good friends with my Uncle Jared and my Aunt Katie McFarland up in Idaho. And not only are they raising performance horses that are going to ultimately be utilized in the rodeo arena, but they're also working ranch horses as well. I mean, they're much older now, but I was just joking, like my 6 and 7-year-old cousins at the time were like out roping me, and I'm like, I'm 30, you know, cool, you know, and to see them not only thrive on the ranch, but also that translate to the rodeo arena, it's a completely blurred line. There's no separation whatsoever. in my opinion. And that's just from my family perspective, but even in my role, here as a faculty member, in animal science, the ranching and rodeo communities really just thrive together. And it's pretty special in this community, San Luis Obispo County in particular. The culture of the beef industry and rodeo is just unlike anything I've experienced, truly.
Yeah, it's a culture, not a culture shock, but it's very warming to see the traditional lifestyles, traditional Western lifestyle culture be really demonstrated through rodeo culture, and it transcends the rodeo grounds. Rodeo students come to my class, and it's 100% respect in a very unique rodeo way. It's like, this is, when I first got here, it's like, this is sort of new. But when I again did some work with Ben Londo, it's like you could definitely see the mirroring of tradition as it transcends generation to generation. Ben Londo, ranchers, beef, rodeo, how do those three connect with each other?
Well, I think, Zach kind of hit it on the head. It's such a starting place for how we fell in love with the sport, fell in love with the industry. I was lucky to grow up on a ranch and raised this way. Both Jane and Lane and Zach as well. But it's amazing how many people that don't come from this lifestyle that fall in love with it just because, they find their home there. I was thinking about, I've got a new student on the rodeo program, and he comes from San Jose. Never had even a hint of cattle in his history. He started coming to our workouts. He got on the group knee, found out about our workouts, and just started coming. They're open to anybody anyways. And then he wanted to start getting on bulls. Now he wants to steer wrestle. And I had him come out and help me at the ranch this weekend. And he's boots that, probably got 1,000 miles on them. And he was wearing a cowboy hat. He said, man, I probably shouldn't wear a cowboy hat out here with you, should I? And we're building a fence. I said, why wouldn't you wear one? He says, well, I am so in love with the industry and the heritage. And as soon as I came out to the rodeo grounds, I found out about this. And I heard that you're kind of open to anybody. He came out and he says, I just felt like I'm at home. And he's there probably 10 hours a day since he showed up 2 weeks ago.
I feel like I've heard that story before. Everybody who...
It's on repeat all the time.
That is not normal, to be very clear, right? Mm-hmm. Like the culture that what y'all as alum and...
Did you just say y'all?
Yes, yeah. I lived in Tennessee for too long to not say y'all. I'm sorry. We can cut that out maybe. But like for you as alum, to what you've instilled in the program and now giving back, and then what Ben is doing, the culture is just unmatched. Truly, I will always sing the praises of the Cal Poly Rodeo program, and I don't know if it was smart or stupid or maybe a little bit of both, where I maybe volunteered my time to help the rodeo program and academic advising. But for me, I always get frustrated. Not every faculty member is like, rodeo's not a sport. They're not student athletes. That's not an excusable absence. And I'm like, you have right. And we work with rodeo students all the time, and we know the respect these students have, the care they take, the respect alone is unmatched. And that's all based on what was done before historically, but also what's still happening. Like, all of you are involved in that. And I don't know if people tell you that enough, but as a faculty member, like, it means a lot to me that you all instill that passion for and respect for academics.
So I'm going to transition back to rodeo, and I just want to say what Zach said is really, really true, because if someone doesn't consider rodeo a real sport, I advise them to go to a rodeo and see how these athletes put their bodies on the lines, and how they, are able to do their athletic duty on, Ben would call it a whole other being. It's a whole other
another athlete almost,
a whole other
equine
athlete.
Equine athlete.
And so I want to transition that to Mr. Lane here. How was that experience for you? Your rodeo experience. How was that for you, being a rodeo athlete?
Oh yeah, it was great. I loved it. Every part of it. And I want to piggyback off Ben though real fast about the welcomingness of rodeo and that lifestyle. And so in this example with him, that you're right, you got this kid from San Jose that finds home. Like he's like, wow, I fell in love with this, right? And he's welcomed and he feels confident and safe in that environment. And I've had experiences where I've been submerged in the industry for 30 years, right? But no matter anywhere across this country, I can go somewhere, and if they're having a jackpot roping or they're having a rodeo or right, like it's like I walk in like home. And I can be in Maine. I've been to a rodeo in Maine, and we went to Hawaii, and we were driving along the Big Island, and kind of through some bushes over there, we saw this blue prefer shoe, right? So we kind of get to look, and there's a sign that has a phone number, so we call it, see what's going on. You guys have roping, so you rope, whatever. Next thing you know, we're touring the guy's ranch on the Big Island in Hawaii.
Oh
like,
my
you know,
gosh.
we're old buds in the side by side, and I don't know, that to me just speaks volumes to the industry and that home, right? There's that connection. So
I think Lane and Ben both probably have a plethora of rodeo stories that they can share.
We might have
at
to
any
have
given time, a
separate
separate one.
podcast.
Just, Lane and I were talking in the truck on the way here, and just about, how welcoming, both communities are to all of us. And there's lots of stories that can be shared for sure. I think I did want to make the point that when Lane was in college, and was it your third or fourth year that Ben came on as the head rodeo coach?
yeah, fourth year.
Your fourth year, there was 24 students in the program,
Something.
24 rodeo athletes, and there's 90 plus now?
105, I believe.
105 this year, and that's 10, 11 years later. So that's pretty remarkable, to say the least.
Well, to tie back to your original question, how that ties back into the ranching community, and growing up on a ranch, and your neighbors are your allies. You all help each other brand, push cattle. What's mine is yours. Your truck breaks down, by God, here's mine. Here's my trailer. Here's my best horse. And that's the culture we grew up in. And the people who haven't but gravitate towards that, it's neat to share that. And rodeo is just a continuation of that ranching heritage and that industry heritage that you can see every day. And that camaraderie and that friendship and that core just good values is what we hang our hat on.
And not to jump in here, but Ben's also not only talking the talk, but walking the walk, right? I mean, he's bringing students out to the ranch he manages and teaching them some of these skills, the skills that they utilize in the rodeo arena, and translating it out onto the working ranch. And I think that in and of itself for me was like just unheard of, really. Like having that learn by doing, right? As much as we all joke, and the Cal Poly motto, learn by doing, I mean, that's really what the Cal Poly Beef program and the rodeo program, I think, live and breathe every day.
I also sing Ben's praises because the first time I ever rode a horse, Ben Londo put me on a horse. I was like, it's just like riding a bike, and my inner thighs.
Kermit?
I don't know. My inner thighs were hurting.
And you were badass health. Like, I couldn't believe, I had some good dogs then, and you were just out there with the dogs. You're like, if the dogs are doing this, it must be the right thing. So you would just haul ass and go help the dogs.
It was so amazing.
I've never seen anybody their first time pay that much attention.
Please tell me that we've got video of this, right?
I wish I did.
Listen, I did not know ranch dogs were so intelligent. Like, Ben just says, "Hey, go get him," and they just shoot out. Like 6 dogs just shoot out. Go. I'm telling you, it was such a phenomenal transitional experience working with Ben Londo that I can never not respect rodeo, the beef industry, what y'all do for students, the transformational experiences these students have. But in any industry, there are opportunities. So, not saying that you need to change anything, but what opportunities exist for the improvement of both rodeo and the beef industry, maybe in mainstream media, environmentally, anything like that?
I'd love to hear from you too. Yeah, honestly, because y'all are doing some of the production class. That's unreal to me too. Like putting on a rodeo in San Diego as a part of your curriculum. That's like unreal.
That wasn't part of my curriculum. That was part of Ben's.
I mean, but
I could talk about the Poly Rail productions class if that's what you want.
I would love to hear. I think it stems from Moses's ultimate question is, what can we do to improve and continue to showcase that story and have people really understand what we're doing and why it's important. I'd love to hear it. Really everybody's perspective, but especially since you're teaching the class, it could be cool to hear from the production side.
Well, I'm co-teaching alongside Ben, but this is my first year teaching it too, so it's been a really fun experience. I think that the biggest transition that this year's Poly Royal Productions class has made is that, you know, we've transitioned from Cal Poly Rodeo students to putting on the rodeo to non-Cal Poly Rodeo students putting on the rodeo. I mean, we have some...
Wait. Say more?
So, you know, originally it was kind of Ben, and he had his officer team or his master students, and they were really the core group that, you know, created this production alongside Ben. He spearheaded the whole thing, and we hired out and had a lot of help from the cafe's dean's office to put on this rodeo. And, you know, over the years, we've always realized that, you know, week of Poly Royal, you have these students that are putting on the rodeo, but they're also competing.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And so for a lot of them, it's really, you know, pulling their heartstrings in two different directions. They've worked all quarter to, you know, put on this rodeo, but they've been working their whole lives to compete at this rodeo. And so this year in particular, am I right on that? Yeah, this year in particular, we really transitioned to having non-rodeo students be a part of the productions class. And part of that was this whole application period. So we have 24 students in the class, and they had to apply. Like, they had to provide their resume, a cover letter, and, you know, we conducted, you know, maybe a couple interviews. But, and basically, you know, like, these students said, I want to be a part of this class. I want to put on Poly Royal Rodeo. And, you know, for them, they're going to have front row seats to the sold out crowd because you can't get tickets anymore.
What was it? Sell out in 30 minutes?
Less than an hour for
Less
sure.
than an hour for sure.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Listen, I'm trying to pull strings to get a camera in there.
So since you're on this,
Is that why we're on
Mike knows a
podcast?
guy.
So anyway, it's really neat to see this variety of students come together. And, you know, I think the first day of class, I asked, like, have any of you not been to a rodeo? And a couple of them maybe raised their hands. And then have any of you not been to Poly Royal? And quite a few of them raised their hands. And so, you know, educating them on, you know, what is rodeo? What's Poly Royal Rodeo? What makes us special in what we do? And then, you know, having them dive head first into learn by doing. We have different committees, and, you know, there's students from the animal science department, there's students from the EIM department, and, you know, across the board, there's, you know, a very strong variety. And, you know, kids from your classes have, you know, come onto the rodeo side. So beef
Mike,
kids.
can I steal them back? Or
No, Colette's mine. Thank you.
Dang it. Colette Smith.
Oh, boy.
Star. I
she's
know.
a star.
She's awesome. So anyhow, that's kind of my perspective. And we're in week, I don't even know what week we're in. Are we in week 5?
8 or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know. I have to grade
No, it's only
finals.
February.
It's the end of
It's the
February.
end of February. Okay, we're almost a week 8. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I
What
keep really good track.
What opportunities do you see, Ben Londo? I'll come to you after.
Well, I think that opens a lot of doors. So, you know, Jane, she pretty much dove headfirst and took over our sponsorship program back when we went in the stadium the first year. And you talk about a workhorse. And Jane gained a lot of experience and value and expertise in everything she did and poured into this program. And, you know, she's talking about how much focus she put into putting on the rodeo and kind of maybe let actually thinking about competing slip a little bit. And I remember having a conversation with you a couple weeks before the rodeo. I was like, are you going to practice? It's like, you know, we got to go win this puppy too. And it's amazing how much heart and soul that students pour into this. And it's amazing how many outside the rodeo circle have wanted to get involved. And don't get me wrong, our students are still very involved. We just found smaller pieces of involvement that lets them focus on actually competing, but still have a very big part in what is their rodeo. But as far as an industry, I think that's the biggest thing we can do is educate. You know, we were involved very heavily. I took a small group of my production team down to that San Diego rodeo. And you had, you know, 2 sold-out performances in Petco Stadium in a major market in a baseball stadium. And there were I counted 24 protesters. And the fans that were coming in were running the protesters off.
Right.
And I talked to many of the people as they were leaving the rodeo, and people that aren't rodeo people, aren't industry people, aren't cattle people, maybe watched Yellowstone once or twice. And they absolutely thought that was the coolest show that they'd ever seen. And I think we're just need to do better as our industry is telling the story and telling the history behind rodeo and what it really is, because I think our opponents are doing a lot better job, getting in front of this legislature and proposing bills that
Making
ban
it
rodeo in LA,
sensational.
ban
Yeah.
it in San Francisco, or ban it in San Diego, when really I think if you polled the majority, I don't think that would be the case at all. Especially, once they got to understand and learn what the sport embodies and is about.
And I think
Like-
that's the
sorry.
biggest question that, as an ag comm student, always had, was all of our professors, all 4 years that I was in there, was, how do you educate the public about agriculture? And I think, like Ben said, same goes to show about rodeo. How do you educate the public about rodeo? If they're not interested, how do you do it? And that's always going to be the question, I think.
I've got a beginning rodeo class, and that's probably the biggest testament to what we're talking about. Is I get to take students that have no rodeo knowledge at all and just teach them a very small piece of each event, how it evolved, how it works, why we do it, and then they get to try firsthand at it. And it's become competitive. We give a buckle at the end of each of these classes.
No way.
Yeah.
No,
So
I want to join.
Not only is it
I need a
competitive
buckle.
in the class, but I have students come to me from advising hours and they're like, man, I'm only like 70th on the wait list. I'm like, yeah, buddy, you're not going to, sorry.
I had 110 last quarter.
110 on the wait
Wow.
list.
Yeah.
But let's not discount Lane here because as
Yeah.
a professional rodeo athlete, I mean, what do you see on the road? Sorry to jump
Well,
in
I
here.
think-
You're the co-host. You're supposed to.
I'm trying.
No, like Ben said, if you were to poll the public, right? But like to me, it's all about pulling them in. Like we can reel them in because one, we have a great product, and the industry is amazing, and show them like what it's about, right? And I think the Cowboy Channel's done a tremendous job. I'm in the industry, but still, like I get to see the insider stories on the guys, or like we watch it with our 11-month-old baby, and we're like, oh, that bucking horse is up tonight, We're like, there's stories, and so to me, like showing that, and I don't know, I think that the opportunities are endless. Like you said, we did it in Petco Park. I think they're having one later this year where the Arizona Diamondbacks play.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a rodeo
cool.
there, right? And so like, I have friends that from high school and stuff didn't grow up in the Western industry, whatever. Grab them, tag along, and they're like enamored by it, right? It's an amazing industry, and so just getting them in the door and just saying, hey, this is and they fall in love with the rodeo, the lifestyle, I don't know.
I've been begging Ben Londo for years to let me do the live stream for the Poly Royal Rodeo some way or the other, even if it's not to broadcast it, just to have a booth there to get the athletes' perspective after their runs. I would love to do that. Like, that's been my dream.
Hey, let's talk.
You got my number. Call me. And I say that to say because my next question is about media and the one side versus the next side with regard to media, right? So for me, I'm like, these are college athletes and they deserve to have their sport displayed and their athleticism displayed, their accolades displayed in a way that I know the sports industry usually does it, right? And so Ben's concern is a little bit different from mine in that he wants it to be broadcast as a safe sport, notwithstanding what the sport is. And we've talked about that quite a bit.
Sure.
How can media help with that end of rodeo / the beef industry? How can the media help spread your story? You talked about education. I think that's interpersonal, but media is this whole other beef. Lane, start us off here.
I'm way better at piggybacking, Ben.
Okay, pass it over to someone.
I can go. So last spring quarter, I taught AgComs 301, which is
New media.
Yeah, new
Yeah.
media and marketing. So we talked a lot about the difference between like social media influencers versus social media educators or companies, and the differences in followings for influencers versus businesses and alike. So I think that the more that we can, spread our reach into other parts of the world when it comes to like the social media side of influencers, even, Beyonce putting on a cowboy hat and singing Texas Hold'em. I mean, that, as much as our industry might say, oh, she's not country, the fact that she puts on a cowboy hat, or Ralph Lauren having this new stream of cowboy hat and cowboy gear apparel, it's bringing people to us without us having to do it. And so I think the more that we can see that happen, the more we're going to be able to bring people into our community, and then therefore be able to educate them. The more that they follow the businesses that support us, or the Cowboy Channel, or other social media outlets. I know Courtney, she has this new program called Fancy Lady Cowgirl, and just more and more people talking about it and being open to showing it and educating. Like, Ben's done a fantastic job at Cal Poly with Cal Poly Rodeo, and just saying, arms wide open. If you think we're doing something that you don't like over here at Cal Poly Rodeo, let me come show you what we're really about. And I think that that's something that we can extend beyond just Cal Poly too.
Meet people where they are. I think sometimes we're so afraid of bringing people in that they're going to think differently about us, or, be horrified by what we do. But I don't think I've ever had the experience where I'm like, just come on out and see what we do. And, we'd love to educate you. And that's what this mentality and this discussion has been so refreshing to hear. Let's just invite people to learn, because they're hungry for it.
Yeah, from the media perspective, as Lane said, the Rodeo Channel is doing phenomenal work out there. So from your perspective, Ben, where does media lie with you and the rodeo team?
Well, I think, just tying into whatever I said, I think the iron's hot right now.
Yeah.
I think over the last probably 5-6 years, I think America is getting a little tired of the bullshit. Can I say bullshit?
I mean, it's a beef podcast, so there has to be bullshit. So.
And I'm not even getting political, but just all the crap and, the integrity of your word and what you stand for, and saying what you mean has slipped away a little bit. And I think people are trying to draw back to that. I mean, Yellowstone's one of the most popular shows going. Rodeo has had a huge upheaval in fans, live attendance fans at rodeos. I think America's ready to get back to its roots and where we started, which is ranching and the Western heritage. So I think this is the golden opportunity to get off our butts and start sharing our sport a little bit more, because we're very humble, we're very quiet, we don't gloat, we don't get out there, and we're not good at getting in front of things and showcasing like we probably could and should. But I think the world is really after it right now.
I'm sold. I'll talk to you about that live streaming stuff, and we'll figure out what that looks like on the back end. What does the media do for beef industry, coming back to beef?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much interconnection, and
it's the same issue.
It's the same exact issues. Yeah. I mean, even just speaking of Yellowstone, I'm like, watching it, I'm like, okay, are these cows going to really bloat if you throw out bales of alfalfa out of the airplane? Like, and there's the scientist in me that's like, you're not telling the full story. But I'm like, who cares? At the end of the day, the fact that people understand that there are real world problems that the ranching community is facing is just as important. And as a scientist, I'm like, we need to drill in facts. But I've also been like, you know what? How many people are like me that's like, I want to see the data, right? How many people realistically, even at this table, right? I mean,
most people have like a 3-second attention span.
You're right. The attention span alone is going to be your problem there. And
Instagram Reels are key.
Yeah, it's so social media is a nightmare to me. But, in many ways, I think we need to embrace and understand the value of storytelling, even in like my kind of animal science research, beef cattle community. Like, we're trying to do all this research to help beef producers, and I will never stop doing that. But also, how can we develop a way to share that message that's not just about let's push data? And data are important. But at the end of the day, a lot in the ranching community are like, hey, how's Ben doing it down the road? I want to learn from Ben because, he's doing so great. He's got great weaning weights. His prey grade is really high. What's he doing differently than I am? So in many ways, that anecdotal evidence and that storytelling and learning from each other is just as important, and I've often overlooked that to my own, downfall. I mean, I think there's so much value from learning from people that do it every day. Is that, not to even get into Scott Vernon, Life in the Ivory Tower, right?
Oh my God.
Dr. Vernon
Dr.
with his Life in the Ivory Tower. Shout out to Scott.
He should be your next celebrity.
Yeah, we might have to bring
Yes, are you kidding me?
Scotty V.
He might decline you because you haven't asked him already.
He might be mad at me. We might have to cut this out, Moses. But we often overlook that. And Lane, to jump in with you, I mean, you grew up in a rodeo family that's just so incredibly immersed and multi-generational, and to see what your mom's done in the media is so cool, and what you're doing.
What did your mom do?
And what you're doing
She's the greatest
too.
rodeo journalist of all time.
Yeah, and let's not
Google
dispute
Kendra
that.
Santos.
Yeah, Kendra
Fact.
Santos.
Fact check that.
Yeah, and not to even diminish what Lane does too, because you're also doing it, and I was very impressed
Absolutely.
by what you were able to do in social media. I'm like, ugh, like I hate social media, but I love seeing what you guys are putting out there, because you're storytelling to not only the rodeo community, but outside the rodeo community about rodeo athletes and what they are going through.
I just want to give credibility to the wonderful chefs
Ooh,
that
look at
are
that
plating for us right now.
Plating.
We're almost
Beautiful,
ready.
Jack,
Your
beautiful.
mom's post today about the panhandle.
Wait, what? Bring us back, director. Bring us back. Wait, is this the beef time? No, this is beef is coming on the plates right now. Wow. And so we have some mushrooms going on there. I'll have Samir explain what's happening
I'll
in a
shut up
short.
too. I need to
No, I don't want you to shut up. Cut back to us, director. I don't want you to shut up. I want you to finalize that point about what Lane's mom and him, what they're doing in the industry, because it's really important too, right?
Well, not only is Lane an athlete, but he's also communicating, and he's an communicator, right? And not only portraying the sport in a really amazing and positive way, but it's that multi-generational interest. Like my mom rodeoed with your mom, in high school and in college, and to be once we got to know each other, it's just, how cool is that, right?
That is cool.
What a cool industry to be a part of, where it's multi-generational. And then I'm a terrible communicator, and that's why I wanted to do this with you and with all of our guests. Is I do such a terrible job, and so I'm always inspired by what y'all do.
I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, well,
Yeah, I
thank
do
you.
too. But I think you're right. Right, there's such a place for data, and obviously, but that storytelling and that connecting with fellow human beings, right?
Yeah.
It's like, that's where I think the rodeo in San Diego, it's like, get them in the door, show them what we do, and that's boom, right?
Yeah.
Let's take it to Arizona. I promise you, they come in there, they're gonna love it. So I think that's that storytelling and pulling people in and just being like, this is it, like, come see it, right? We don't have to, yeah. So.
We're not hiding anything. We want to tell you all about what we do on a day in and day out basis, and that goes for beef and rodeo.
Yeah,
I agree.
100%.
I've been to several rodeos with different varieties and configurations of cameras, and no one asked me anything. Like, no one really. I think one person asked me what organization I represented, but generally speaking, like, no one really tries to prevent you from seeing anything or doing anything. I was in the holes with athletes wrapping their hands and things like that, and it's really a different experience. So my recommendation to anyone who has reservations is to buy a rodeo ticket, of course, go to a rodeo and see what the vibe is. And one of the bigger impressions that I got was from the the NFR. What is that? What's the acronym stand for again? National
Finals Rodeo.
Finals Rodeo. Yeah. In Vegas, South Point Hotel. Ben Londo took me there again. Thanks to Ben Londo for all those experiences. What?
I'm just so jealous.
I was working, okay?
Yeah, you were. I don't contribute much, so to be fair.
So, when I went there, again, the camaraderie, the community, the culture. I talked to a lot of students' parents there. I talked to a lot of athletes there, and it's a very wonderful community. So just before we eat, I'm going to transition to what does it look like for the future for all of us right now.
In our personal lives or in rodeo and
I mean,
beef?
if you want to talk about Charlie, I wouldn't say
Well,
no.
I always talk about Charlie.
Yeah, we
But-
can always talk about Charlie
And Wesley,
What?
too.
and Wesley.
I think our industries are in bright spots. I think we've come a long way. We've had great advancements in both, and I think that like Ben said, the iron's hot. It's a bright spot, both the beef industry and the rodeo industry, and the way they complement each other. And I'm very proud to be a part of both of them to some degree, and I think that the future's bright. With that said, right, more people we can pull in and share our story with, because there's certainly, people on the other side or opposition that's real. And like Ben said too, they are oftentimes better at projecting or being out there, and we kind of tend to have that humble kind of quiet, we'll handle it, but it's real, and we got to step up. And so I think it's all our duty to represent our way of life and be proud of it, and pull people in and invite them in, join us.
I don't think I could have said it any better, honestly. I kind of.
And you're the communicator.
I kind of want to mic drop that one.
That might be a mic drop right there.
I agree.
Ben Londo.
I can't agree more. And we need more people like Lane and his mother. They've done a great job telling the backstory of rodeo and these athletes. Kendra put a really great story together about our beach breakaway roping, which was a new event that we did. And the things that she mentioned and said in her articles and her, her video that went on a Yeti short that went all over the internet, were things that I just completely take for granted and just, oh yeah, that's just what we do.
Yeah.
But when she tells the story, it connects with so many different people outside of our industry, because we're just so used to how that feels or what that is for us. And I once again, I think the time's right to do it, and we need more people out there speaking the truth for us.
Yeah, I know the awesome team of Jack Madden and Dr. Amin is coming through very quickly. Please, you could go ahead and set very quickly, Zach. Tell us what the future is like for the beef industry.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, we know the future for this cut of beef on the table
this
right
cut
now.
of beef
but-
is a little mouth-watering. I might not be able to speak fully and coherently here. I'm a little I'm a little distracted. I can't lie to you. Wow, Dr. Amin, Jack, kudos.
All right,
Cheers to the chef.
While you're figuring it out, I'm gonna.
All right, so today we've got some beautiful Cal Poly beef. They cut some beautiful large beef shanks for me. So I just really wanted to braise them. So we've got braised beef shanks, and I actually spiced them a little differently than you normally would. I wanted to try something a little bit different, so hopefully it'll work. Knock on wood. So it's spiced with some Indian tikka masala spice. So it's got a little bit of coriander, cumin, some cardamom, some cinnamon in there, a little bit of heat, just a touch. And that was on the beef. And when we braised it in beef stock, we braised it with a little bit of cinnamon and allspice and star anise. So hopefully that'll be nice. A little bit of warm flavors in there. It's on a bed of creamy polenta. So it's just a traditional polenta with Parmesan cheese and butter in there. Very dietetic, very good for you. And around it, we've got some sauteed mushrooms. They're shiitake and oyster trumpet mushrooms. And then actually there's also a little bit of spinach in there because we need something green. All right.
Love it. Thank you, Dr. Amin.
Enjoy.
Thank you, chef.
Thank you, chef. Okay, hopefully Zach had enough time to
Yeah,
compose himself.
I might compose myself now. I mean, I don't know how I can top what this group has already said, but I think the future is bright. I could not agree more. The iron is hot. I could also not agree more. And I was recently at a conference and was asked to speak, and I was talking about students and the future of the industry. I'm not worried. A lot of people get worried because our society is very, very different than it once was, and there's a lot of very vocal people on the fringes that can often lead to discord and and discontent in our society and our community. But, I'm very excited about the future and the young people that we interact with, not only at Cal Poly, but just in general, loving this industry, whether they were born into it or not, loving this way of life, and huge advocates for our industries into the future. And I'm not worried about the future of the industry. And I get a lot of pushback from that, but I think we can all agree in what we've discussed tonight. The future of the industry is bright, and our young people are a huge part of that. So,
And with that, I'm gonna thank everyone that's been on our panel today. Please don't hold back on it.
we
on
might
my
have to
account.
jump in here.
Jump straight in
Maybe
while it's hot.
move my mic away.
Thank you to everyone that was on the panel today. Again, these are people that I have known for a while. Ben Londo, really great coach. If you didn't have your ticket for Poly Roller Rodeo, sucks to be you because it's sold out.
You can still
Lane
be a
and Jane.
sponsor.
What? Unless you're a sponsor.
You can
Wait.
be a sponsor. You can. There's ways.
There's ways you could still access it. Lane and Jane, people who I've worked with in my department, and people who have come to know outside of the department as well. Charlie's mom, Charlie's dad. The fantastic chefs behind the scenes running the meals, Jack Madden, Dr. Amin, and the brilliant production crew that's always on time, always doing their thing. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been another episode of Heard That.
Heard that.
Heard That.
Heard That was created by Zach McFarlane and Moses Mack. Producers for the show included Moses Mack, Zach McFarlane, Samir Amin, and Anna Khan. Guests from this episode included Ben Londo, Lane Karney, and Jane Karney. Samir Amin was the head chef and was supported by sous chef Jack Madden. Dr. McFarlane is the resident faculty industry expert and guest coordinator. Digital production for the show was led by Moses Mack, who also hosted the show. Heard That was also created with the assistance of students from the AGC 290 Enterprise class who helped with direction, technical assistance, and editing. These students included Andrew Angulo, Chelsea Flood, Bella Anushian, Melissa Frago, Natalie Victorine, Yuri Ramirez, Jillian Schwang, Riley Lopez, and Tatum Neves. The 1-2-3s of Beef segment was created by Moses Mack, Anna Khan, and Chelsea Flood. Chelsea also presented the segment. Lead editor was Moses Mack. Heard That is a digital media collaboration involving 5 of the 9 departments in the College of Agriculture, Food, and Environmental Sciences at Cal Poly, including Food Science and Nutrition, Plant Sciences, Animal Sciences, Wine and Viticulture, and Agricultural Education and Communication. Heard That was recorded at the Aregia Family Foundation Culinary Lab at Cal Poly. These credits were read by me, Chelsea Ann.